Eden Koz here with Just Be, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the Just Be practice to do just that. And as we begin the show, just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a soul realignment specialist, meditation master, and dimensional healer. Learn more, and there's merch also at EdenJustBe.com. Let's get this party started. Eden, Just Be, Spiritual Boom, in association with the Grassroots Warriors Network. Welcome, Ascension coach Karen Glass. How you be today?
Thank you. Good. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. All right, we're going to go into some great awakening stuff. And y'all know a lot of times I have stuff to say to lead in. I do not today. It looks like I am going to be saying something. It's a kind of a funky, let me see how to put these words together. Kind of a funky day. Karen, I don't know about you. I've been feeling so good as the Lionsgate and everything, like just this positivity, high vibration that I've never felt before. And it's so consistent. It's so beautiful. Yet again, still being a human being, I've got two things right now that are kind of in my crawl a little bit that I'm having to work on. Yeah. So it's not bringing me down a little. Yeah, just making me very reflective and very calm. How has your life been lately?
I don't want to
Oh
go.
my gosh, before I read your bio, let's go.
Because we had to repost this. But I've noticed the Lionsgate, the beginning part of it, it was the strongest energy I've ever felt for any Lionsgate. And all this light frequency was coming in. And then even my friends were talking. What day did they? I think it was Wednesday. One of them was like, I was feeling really good, and now I feel like I'm like feeling down. All this like old stuff is coming up, and they're all like
Yes.
having to do self-reflection in a whole nother way. So I think it's the energies going on since actually the whole week for me, pretty much. But the last week, Lionsgate was amazing energy.
Okay,
Like
let me
we
go
were.
ahead and I think Lionsgate was to end on August 12th, 2025. Is that right? Or the 4th? I think the
Yeah,
12th.
yeah,
Okay, and
yeah.
Karen, we will not have Karen published until I think August 27th. So this will be even further past us. But you know what? That is so one of the issues, and I'd love to talk about your narcissistic ex-husband. I'm as everybody knows on the show, I'm in the middle of this divine new relationship where, look, Karen, I am talking. We are talking before I get to your bio. So I hit 6 months next week, and yesterday was a huge, like this has really helped me question my past relationships and how I used to act in the relationship. And this was a biggie that really just, it's bringing so much more into my view, who I am now, what I used to do. And there was a feeling that I had that exactly resembled how I used to feel. And I've never been as connected to it before, and was like, oh my gosh, at feeling small. And I was eating at the time. It was compressing here. It was hard to eat. And I've never felt it now how I used to feel. And it was just, oh my gosh. Like, how long did I live this way? How long in making myself small? It's been dramatic, not
Wow.
fun going through it. But and okay, can I read your bio now?
Yes.
Karen Glass is an ascension coach, spiritual teacher, healer, and an evidential medium, which means she communicates with concrete proof that she is talking to the other side. She is a certified hypnotherapist with training from the Alchemy Institute of Hypnosis in Santa Rosa, California, with advanced training in somatic healing, which is the mind-body connection, and advanced training in alchemal. Did I say that right?
Alchemy. Yeah.
Alchemy past life regression. Karen helps reprogram negative subconscious beliefs from past lives, family lineage, and childhood. Her focus is to collapse lower timelines from past lives, cut contracts, and heal negative or repetitive patterns that follow us from one life to the next. Karen explores multiple dimensions to understand her client's soul journey and helps her clients connect to higher timelines and advanced past life gifts. All right, to start off, I want to know about your personal awakening and then your awakening into the great awakening. Kick it off, girl.
Okay. I didn't have an awakening like most people. I actually thought when I was a child that everybody knew that they had past lives, and I thought everybody knew dead people around. So it never even occurred to me that it was a belief system. I thought it was a fact when I was a kid. And I remembered my past lives and I remember the dreams. I had a lot of dreams of past lives and I just remembered them. So I just thought that was a thing that everybody remembered. Me and my brother used to have the same reoccurring dream, and we could talk about it, and it's like everything that happened. One of them we were in World War One, but we got put in the enemy lines, and in the dream we're trying to pick a different hiding spot because in reality we were like both soldiers, and we're like, should we hide here? Should we hide there? But no matter where we hid, we would die. But we both had the same recurring dream.
So, okay. All right. Two questions I have on that. All right. So, knowing as a child that you thought everyone could talk to dead people. So, did no one in your life come up to you and go, hey, you need to stop that. That isn't real.
I didn't really talk about it.
Oh,
It
wow.
was kind of like you don't like when people in the room, you don't talk about somebody that's there. You just assume everybody knows that they're there. So if somebody's like sitting in a chair next to you, I don't sit there and talk about them to you, if that makes sense. So I just, how we found out was, we had a ghost in our house. And so this is like a spirit that hasn't moved to a higher dimension.
Hmm.
And she was hung where my bedroom was, and she kept telling me that she didn't commit suicide. She was murdered, but everyone thinks she committed suicide. And as a kid, I was like, I don't know what to do with this because I was like 4 when we moved into this house. And then you could actually physically, with your physical ears, hear her walking up the stairs slowly, one by one. And I had a bedroom right underneath the stairs.
Hmm.
And so my brothers had the 2 bedrooms upstairs and they would run as fast as they could. And I knew they knew she was there by the way they acted. And then she would like slowly walk down the stairs across some wooden floors and you'd hear creak, creak, creak. And then she walked through my door and I'd be like, if I pretend I'm asleep, she won't talk to me. She will go away. Um, and then I was about 12 and I went into the living room because I was trying to study in my room and she was just sitting there staring at me. And nobody likes it when somebody's staring at you.
Yeah.
And so I went out, like a 12-year-old teenage girl does. I go, I'm so sick of this lady that lives with us. And I'm so sick of her just staring at me all the time. And everybody's just like, what are you talking about? And I was looking at them and I was like, why do they not know what I'm talking about? And so then I explained to my mom who I was talking about. And she's like, oh, we didn't buy the house from a lady that hung herself. But then when I was 16, the old owners came back just to see, like when you go check out houses you used to live in.
Yeah.
They got the house for a discounted rate because the lady committed suicide right where my bedroom was by hanging herself. And my mom was like, "Oh." And so then she started asking me questions and then she's like, "Oh, Karen has this gift, but the other
No
people in the
way.
family had it too." So I just thought it was everybody knew.
Okay, that is a beautiful story because most people that come into the show had gifts, talked about their gifts, and a lot of folks in religious situations, that's Satan. You need to stop that. Parents going, "What are you talking about?" So your circumstance seems really great. Okay, and going back to you also talking about other people in your family, this World War One or two dream that you had with your brother, and that the scenarios would continue to recycle. Like, how long did y'all have that dream together?
We
That's
had it
amazing.
until we started talking about it.
Okay.
And we also had it till we came to the realization that we did the best we could in
Okay.
that lifetime. And as soon as I realized I did the best I could, the dream to stop. I haven't had it for years.
Wow.
A lot of times, even with like hypnotherapy or past life regression, if you come to a love or realization that you're
Yeah.
always doing the best and you turn it into a love frequency, it like heals. And so I think just us realizing we did the best we could, it started healing.
Cool. So, all right. So, always had these abilities, and I want to ask. Okay, we'll come back to this question, but I want to go ahead and put it out there in terms of a career. Well, let's go ahead and ask it now. Did you move into this as a career right off the bat, or did you do typical things and then moved into this? How did that evolve?
So when I was 16, I heard that I was going to work with dead people. And I was talking to dead people, and I was like, I it didn't even occur to me that they were the dead people. And so I was like, oh, what's working with dead people? Morticians. And so I was like trying to think of what dead people, maybe I'll do autopsies or something. And I was a collegiate swimmer and I got injured. And so I was like, well, since I'm going to be working with cadavers,
Oh my gosh.
I decided to start studying like human anatomy and and I was like, well, maybe I'll be a physical therapist instead because I got hurt. So I went into pre-physical therapy for my undergrad. And then I realized it never really helped me. So then I became a massage therapist for a few years.
Mhm.
And massage has helped me the most with my shoulder injury. And while I was giving massages, I would like get images of like the people, but one was a friend and she was very private. And I was like, oh no, she doesn't want me to know this. And so I blocked it for a little bit.
Okay.
But as soon as I decided to have it, it started coming back in pretty well as well. So I started off as massage and then I went to hypnotherapy school and and then I just put it on my website and it took off from there, honestly. With the deceased people, I didn't know other people did it for work or anything. So
Yeah.
I didn't know there was classes out there or any of that. So I could do it, but I couldn't do it on demand when I first got it. And then I read a book, So You Want to Be a Medium. And all I had to do was learn the clairs, like clairsentient, clairaudio. And I was like, oh, I remember how to do this because we have past lives with gifts. So I did it in a past life and I go, I remember. And I put it on my website. And then I started doing it. And so it's
Oh
taking
man.
classes. I'm happy I didn't start with the classes because
Yeah.
the classes, they're like, you have to do things this way.
Hmm.
We figured it out and you need to do it, as opposed to how my soul wanted to do it. So I'm
Hmm.
happy the classes have helped, but I do it how my soul wants to do it.
That really, so it was so organic for you. Okay, I know there's another question that's going to stem from that, but we'll hang off on that for a moment. All right, go into the Great Awakening. I am going to take a second. I really love your story because again, it is so different. I think from so many light workers and healers that you had this traumatic event that in a sense, forced you to open up to this, and yours, I'm not saying it was easy, but it seems like, oh, I already had this and saw
Yeah.
this, and then my mom said, hey, let's learn more, and then yeah, it sounds like a, can I say a happy journey?
Yeah. I
Okay.
love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's super nice. All right, tell me, and then in terms of the Great Awakening, how did you how did you link into that?
Okay, so I started my hypnotherapy and kind of past life regression therapist and helping people to grow and heal shadow work and past lives and to activate their own gifts because so as soon as I read that book, all like the neurons or whatever the memory just came back. And so I've like everybody has this. And so I would work with that with sessions. And it was like a slow progression from 2012 to about 2020. And then in 2020, obviously the world just changed
Yes,
quite
it
a bit.
did.
And so what I see was the Schumann resonance, the energy of the earth shifted to a higher frequency and I shifted to a higher frequency. In 2019, I had a dream that five lineages were trying to take over the world. And it was going to start off with the stock market kind of going down. And then we'd all have to go inside and we couldn't communicate unless it was through the internet or through Zoom. And then I got images of everybody getting brainwashed. But we couldn't talk about it because we couldn't meet in groups. And everyone that tried to say it online, it would be monitored or interfered. So this was my dream that I had before COVID. And so when COVID started, everyone was getting toilet paper. I was like, okay, somewhere we're going to be brainwashed. And I didn't know if it was there was no COVID and I was like, why is everybody getting toilet paper?
Yeah.
And so I was like, the stock market's about to go down. And then it went down like the next week. And then when we got put inside, I was like, somewhere we're going to be brainwashed. And then I had like, because I was a hypnotherapy, I saw them putting like news on. And there was like these images that would put people in a slight hypnotic thing. And then they would deliver information. And I
Mhm.
was like, my niece was living with me and I was like fast forwarding through some of it because I'd be watching reruns. She's like, why are you fast forwarding? And I was like, because they're hypnotizing me before they want to give me information. And I don't want to be in a slight like hypnotic state. And I was like, I
Mhm.
probably don't even want to listen to the information anyways, because if you have to hypnotize somebody to deliver it, it's probably not something you want to listen to. And so that was 2020 where I kind of just went down the rabbit hole, like what actually is going on the Earth planet. My political views changed too, which after that dream
Oh yeah.
I felt like I had something on my third eye, which I thought I was awake before, but this like thing popped off my third eye
Oh man.
and all of a sudden I changed political party. Like I was like, whoo, now I'm on this side. But I feel like why spirit did that is I'm supposed to be neutral. So I'm not supposed to really have judgment towards any.
Yep.
And I see each political party I can often tell by people's frequency and a trauma that they had at childhood what political party they're going to pick, actually. Um,
Okay. Makes sense.
and so I was seeing these five families, I'm just going to say, wanted us in duality. And also they were doing like mask, no mask, vaccine, no vaccine, Russia, Ukraine. Like it was just like one thing after white lives matter or black lives matter, all lives matter. It was just like, God, how much more duality
Mhm.
are they going to add in? And when are people going to be like, who's creating this instead of just fighting over who's correct? And so I was like, started just sitting back going, this is a really weird game that we're playing on Earth. And I started connecting more to myself and realizing that maybe I'm like in this like almost like a hologram kind of a feel, like where I'm trying to get out of it. And so now a lot of us, our goal is to clear up all the karma and add as much light as we can. And we're like moving to another dimension where there's not the duality, which is the fourth, fifth, where the
Yes.
third density where we are now has duality. And so we decided to do this as a collective group. So we're almost like where we're all reminding each other, those that are ready to hear it. Those that aren't at the frequency to hear it, you can't, I mean, I could talk about it
Yeah.
all day and they'd be like, you're wrong.
Mhm.
And so my goal, even as a therapist, is to get somebody's frequency so they see it themselves. Because you have to see it yourselves because it's part of your soul journey of growth to the fourth, fifth density. I can't like educate you to get there. You have to embrace it and grow
Mhm.
into it. And so, people are realizing that they also have gifts. Like I had people that weren't awakened until 2020. They're like, you talk about parallel lives, past lives, and now they're spiritual teachers and they're writing books. And they were like in a corporate inner field before 2020.
Mhm.
So, and then with how you're talking about the Lions Gate, like the amount of frequency coming into our bodies making us tired. We're like, it's like a roller coaster. We're all over the roller coaster a little bit, but it's like, I feel great. Oh, I have more shadow work. I feel great. It's like we're doing 1,000 years of trauma clearing in like 4 years.
Yes.
And it's a little overwhelming for us light workers, as I'm seeing.
Okay. Yeah. It is like the work that I've done in the past couple years magnifies anything that I've done. But within that, the feeling of peace and calmness and connection is it just continues to expand. All right. I read this on one of your blog posts. I love this and I want to talk about this a little bit. So going back to the virus, and at that point, I'm curious where this is right now. When you were doing regressions, it bringing up traumas in past lives. So the Black Plague was coming into view, which was 14th century, Great Depression, brainwashing and segregation, group gatherings, fear of dying, fear of being outcasted. Can you talk about that a little bit? And knowing it had to be interesting too to know what you know or knew what you knew then. How would you talk people through it?
Yes. So that was actually March of 2020. I think I wrote
Okay.
that a week after COVID started. And what I was noticing as COVID, so week after shutdown, I guess, but COVID was kind of, people are kind of aware of it. I noticed what people were focusing on during COVID had to do with their own trauma. So some people were scared to get COVID because they would be like outcasted from society. Nobody wanted to talk to them ever again. Because at the beginning of COVID, nobody wanted to be the one that had COVID.
Right.
Um, and so the Black Plague was coming up in sessions probably a year before COVID. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah, it's like Spirit was trying to heal that. And so I noticed everybody was like in this trauma mode. And I remember during it, people thought, oh, we're just inside for 2 weeks. And I asked Spirit, and they said, it'll be pretty strong through 2024. So I was like, well, I'm not going to tell a single soul that because they're in trauma mode
I'd
already.
be like, Karen, oh my God. All right.
And so I would work on, because now we're in an event where most of us were safe inside. I mean, obviously some people passed, but the majority were safe and watching Netflix. Yet their nervous system was going crazy. So I had to figure out what trauma they had in the past were they overreacting to in the COVID aspect, because we all overreacted to different things. And so that's kind of, so I just wanted people to become aware of like, oh, this might be my thing, and let me try to heal that. And so so I can rest a little bit more during this time period.
Okay. And also knowing that it was okay, that it was really stressful for some people who were put out of work, didn't have money coming in,
Yeah.
and, children who have very abusive homes suddenly being stuck at home. I mean, it like when I don't know about you, Karen, but when I really go back to it and I think about it sometimes, it's just it's pretty horrible
It was horrible.
to
Yeah.
say to say the least.
Sometimes we even have a fear of losing everything too. So
Yeah.
we'd look at that and be like, okay, I'm still alive, I'm still safe. Yeah, but those scenarios are hard. And those children, I don't that does not come into my practice because their parents wouldn't.
Right,
So,
exactly.
but yeah, that some of it was absolute, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that had to be, especially when the Black Plague started coming to you a year before it happened. I'm sure you were just like, "What? What is this?" All right, can you take a minute and so how long have you been divorced and are you remarried?
I've been divorced since well, official 2013, but I left him in 2012, actually.
Okay.
A lot of people went through a big shift in 2012 as
Yeah.
well. I'm not remarried. I thought about it, like, oh, I'll meet some guy, but like when you're awake and you can sense people's like trauma inside of them, it makes it really hard to find somebody. Plus, I love my life, so if I was to bring somebody in, they'd have to make it better. It's not for
Yeah.
financial, for you make me feel good kind of. And
Mhm.
single men in their 50s are hard to come by. So, so it's not like a huge priority for me, actually. It's just
There you go.
my life, I guess. And if somebody
Yeah.
comes, they come around. I love to travel too, so
Yes, that is, we talked about that some. All right. Can you mind talking about your husband? Because he had a trauma that started when he was 5. How long were you guys married?
we were married for 9 years, together
Okay.
13.
So, did you come to a point where you were just like, okay, I'm done with this, assuming this was part of a contract that you were also in? Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk more.
So me and him had it was a karmic relationship.
Yep.
Um, He actually, at one point, we were driving in North Carolina and we'd never been there before. And told him, I go, slow down, there's a cop coming up. And he's like, you've never been on this road before. Why do you know that? And I was like, why do you not know that? And then like 3 minutes later, there was a cop and he was doing the radar and he's like, "Oh my God, you need to do something with that." So he actually kind of like got me going, huh, maybe I should do something with that. But then as soon as I did, then of course, as a narcissist, he's like, you shouldn't do something with that
Okay,
because
so were you doing massage at the time already when y'all were
I
married,
was
or
doing
you?
massage, yeah.
Okay, got it.
And so when I got married, I even heard I will get divorced because he'll have an affair. But for some reason, I was like, oh, this is so obviously he was a narcissist, but there's obviously a trauma inside of me that would make me think this is what I deserve.
Hmm.
So I was like, well, this is the best I could get. Looking back at that 20-year-old version of me, I'm like, oh, you've come so far. Like, I wouldn't do that now, obviously. I think of it though a lot of empaths marry narcissists, and I kind of feel like we went through a training program. And so when you
Yes.
look at who's creating the duality, they act very similar to a narcissist with the gaslighting. Like
Hmm.
you have to do this or you're a bad person. And there's a whole political party, like you do this or you're bad, like you get gaslit. And so I feel like us narcissists, we're getting in a training. And so I look at the whole thing as this huge training blessing, actually. Plus, I got to clear karma with somebody as
Oh yeah.
well. And I left him because his dad, the trauma was his dad died when he was 5 in a plane crash.
Oh wow.
And his dad was one of my first deceased teachers. He was the one that was teaching me how to do the mediumship in a way.
Whoa.
My ex had like this picture of this guy in a canoe.
Uh-huh.
And I picked up the picture because I'd never seen it before, and I heard that went in my baby's room. And I was like, that's weird. Why did I just have that thought? And so I was like, was this in your baby's room? And my ex was like, yeah, my dad saw that. And he's like, oh my God, that has to go in my baby's room. And I was like, oh, that's how they talk to us. And so I was walking our golden retriever one day, and I he actually pushed me. Like I was like, whew, because I was just like kind of daydreaming. And I heard actually with like physically heard. Usually I just hear it in my mind. I heard run home, check his computer. He forgot to clear his history. You'll find the answers there.
Ooh.
And honestly, my first reaction was, ah, finally I caught him. And it was relief. I kind of went into a little bit of a panic, but I was more relieved that I needed a push to move on for some reason with my life.
Hmm.
The girl he had the affair with, I was like talking to Spirit. I saw in a back during the religious reform, she was the reason I got killed. And I was like kind of in a mood. I go, she was mean to me then, and now she's mean to me again. And then Spirit goes, she just saved you. And I was like, wait, what? And they
Yeah.
said, you needed to move forward with your path in your life. And this was like holding you back and you were miserable. And so she said, hey, I'll come in and help you move forward. And I was like, oh, she like took one for the team. And so I like, it helped me heal from the fact that he had this affair. And he had the courage to, obviously, we weren't doing great. He had the courage to take that step that I was having trouble taking, is how I look at it now.
Yeah.
I can look at it this way because I can talk to spirit and because I do regression therapy. And so I healed karma with him, with her, and I got a training on narcissism, which really helps me in my career too, because I can tell who's with a narcissist and who's getting gaslit and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh man. And it is really like I really appreciate you talking about that too, because everything in your life, no matter how prickly, ugly, it if you choose to look at it as a gift, then it is. And you can see all of it. Because for me, same with you. This was when um I everybody knows this on the show, so this is a repeat. I know y'all know this. So I asked for a divorce 3 weeks before the lockdowns. Okay, that's
Oh,
still I like saying that, but yeah. So he was traveling, working out of the house, and suddenly we were all at home. My two daughters were at home, and that's also when I learned about COVID and the Great Awakening. So there was not only a split, a marriage split, there was a split in his what he believed and what I believed. And I look at also that as gift, like how if if the divorce hadn't come, it would have come after COVID because it was just, I mean, there was a definitive split. And the same thing was for me. It was a karmic relationship, year, generations, whatever, after
Yeah.
generation. So in breaking that, that is really because there were, I don't know about you, but many things that I didn't expect to come from that. There were things I did expect, but then other and happening at the same time as COVID too. I mean, there were just splits and separations all over the place.
Yeah.
Yet, I would say when you have the strength to do something like that, to end something that is such a pattern, you really move into freedom.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, how do you feel about that for yourself?
Oh, it's divorcing him was like the best thing. And I don't regret marrying him either.
Right.
Teacher for me. Um, but I feel it was the year I divorced was like one of the best years of my life. And I
Oh,
felt free. I was like, I get to do whatever I want when I want. And I loved it. I could spend my money how I want. I could watch TV when I want. I felt so free. I noticed this is a 9 year. I don't know, like if you take 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5, it equals a 9, which 9 is a completion. And so I noticed a lot of people are
ah,
going through a completion of their own relationships this year, completion of jobs or moving. And so
mhm.
I noticed that that's happening this year as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that makes sense too, as we are leaving so much of the old behind. Yeah, just completing things. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so, I wanted to ask you of all the modalities that you do, do you have a favorite, or do they all intertwine together so beautifully?
It intertwines together, but my favorite is the somatic healing with the past life regression. And deceased people will come in, but we also look at why you picked your parents as your parents. Like, so if you look at a past life and you're healing abandonment, you could be like, oh, my dad was helping me to heal that instead of my dad is a bad person. We could be like, oh, he helped me heal abandonment because I had to experience it and remember that I want to heal abandonment. So, um, but I love looking at past lives and lives on other planets even as well.
Oh, neat. All right, can you talk about that a little bit?
So, just like we have multiple lives on Earth, we will try as a star being, which almost all of my clients are star beings. Every once in a while, I can't mention anything about them because people are like, "Ooh, this girl's a little more
What
cuckoo."
is that?
Yeah.
Oh, and let me ask you this, Karen. Were you able to do connect to lives on planets the whole time, or is that a more recent
That's
thing?
that's probably more newer.
Hmm.
Also, I think if I brought it up in 2012, I would have been. It's just like more accepted now, I
Yep.
guess.
Yep. Because I started probably the past couple years more dimensions, similar to you,
Yeah.
connecting on a broader scope to things. Okay. So when you approach someone and you see it, it sounds like you already have some connection with them versus, hey, I'm just going to throw this out to you. That they're
I
already like, yes.
usually it depends on the client. Like if you
Okay.
came in, I would add star beans in the first session. And some people I can't add it in for like maybe 5 more sessions.
Oh, okay. But it gets there.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
nice.
some people you can't ever add it in.
Okay.
So
Got
we're
it.
there. But and a lot of people are like, oh, I'm Palladian, I'm Assyrian, but I notice we bounce around a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And a lot of have you heard of the Lyran beans?
Yes.
Actually, I just did for Lionsgate. They kind of look like this.
Oh, sweet.
So, the Lyran, I noticed a lot of us have a Lyran being as an ascension guide, and a lot of us were in what I call for. I feel like we're in the seventh battle between these beings, these narcissistic beings, I'll just say,
Hmm.
and those that are light workers. And the Lyrans have a belief that everything's sacred, everything's connected, and so we're connected to nature, to animals. All the elements belong on their planet that they originated on. And these narcissistic beings believe that they want to control everything. And so it started the first battle, and the Lyrans just lost because they'd never been in battle, because they were just all about light and love. And so their plan I saw got destroyed, and a lot of people that were Lyrans then went to like the Pleiades Syrians, and so they moved.
Hmm.
Um, The interesting thing though is so that comes up a lot in sessions is that trusting I can just call it narcissist because we've been bringing up narcissism. Trusting the narcissist. So the Lyrans trusted the narcissist and they showed them their planet, they showed them their minerals, and they went into contract with the narcissist. And then the narcissists kind of ended up taking over the area. And so a lot of people are healing that they just trusted everybody or that they showed people who they were and what they could do, which is the narcissist specialty and using it
Uh,
against you. Um, but there's higher timelines of everything. So I saw that I was connected to the timeline where the Lyran's planet got destroyed, but I see there's a higher timeline where the Lyran's had a heads up and it didn't happen. And so Spirit's trying, it's almost like another multiverse above this one. It's almost like we're playing with the narcissist in this one. And then just like I'm Karen Glass trying to ascend. My Lyra being's trying to ascend, and every aspect of me is trying to ascend to another level. And then we're gonna play another game. I guess I'll just call it a game. It's not always a fun game, but
ah,
when you live for all eternity, you play games with
yeah.
any.
And it's deliciously complex. It's so interwoven. There's so many pieces. Like like I feel like I can never quite and I quite learn them all, but you learn more as you go, and then you learn more as you go, and you learn more as you
Yeah.
go. What when you first had an experience where you saw someone on another planet, were you just like, oh, did it happen naturally for you? Were you kind of like shocked with it, or just okay, here we are?
Um, okay, here we are. Every time I get
Yeah.
information, it's a memory,
Mhm.
and I go, oh, of course, I forgot that. That's how I always feel for some
Mhm.
reason. Um, And the first ones, which is most people's first, are the Pleiadians, because they're the most like us. And so they would, the first, I heard somebody talk about them before, and I was like, this lady's a little weird. And then I worked on my own energy, and then I was like, oh, that lady was not weird. She was just understood things that I didn't. But the Pleiadians would usually come in very strong when I worked with children, because children's frequency is super high. And so as an energy worker, raising people's vibration. But every once in a while, the Pleiadians will be like, okay, you cleared this, now step back, we got it, because the child might be vibrating higher. So then the Pleiadians would finish why I just stood and translated. For at the beginning, that doesn't happen to me anymore, really. Yeah, it didn't surprise me at all. I was like, they just feel like light beams. They're not like little
Yeah.
anal probers, which I think I thought when I was a kid, if I saw an alien, it'd be an anal prober,
Oh
like
my gosh, right.
but they're just like these bright light beams. And so yeah, they're like, "Oh, there you are." I was just happy to see them, I guess. Yeah.
So how I've asked this to one other person before, but it seems really accurate with you. If someone has a challenge, I think a lot of people right now are starting to believe in aliens. Okay, but again, that it's not aliens, they're us. It's not outside of us.
Yeah.
How would you someone who is at least starting to believe that there's more to life out there and the same thing anal probers and you know uh how okay, my question. How would you work in telling them there's way more to this than meets the eye? How would you start that conversation?
I usually call them light beams at
Okay,
first.
the same thing.
Another
Okay.
plant, actually. I sometimes I say angels without their wings.
Oh, neat. Okay.
Because if I say the word, I don't usually say the word alien because when we think alien, we
Alien
already have
eggs.
a definition of it. Most
Mhm.
people do. Um, and I usually don't bring it up till the person's ready because I can tell by their frequency when they're ready. So they're every once in a while people are like, oh, I don't believe it. And I go, that's okay. But I'll just explain their trauma and they're like, oh, so let's take away the light beam and just work on this trauma because that's the thing that's most important anyways. Um, so honestly, I don't talk about it till the person's ready for it, but I do call them light beams.
Okay, so when they're ready, and even when they're ready opening the door, what do you typically say?
I just I usually say where the light beam's from. So I like, oh, there's a Syrian guy that's working with you and he wants
Okay.
to Then I just give like the message and then explain where. So a lot of people lived, a lot of my clients, because we have matching pictures with our clients. So I get a lot of people that were Lyrans, Syrians, Arcturians, and Sirius A or B. And
Mhm.
then there's this elemental planet with like fairies and dragons and unicorns and mermaids. And most of my clients are Lemurian as
Okay.
well. And so I'll say like this guide's here, and then I'll explain what the planet looks like. And a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, whenever I meditate, I go there." And so
Oh.
like almost like because everything I say in a session is just reminding your soul who you are.
Mhm.
And so it usually comes up a little later in the session where their vibration's already like kind of, so as an energy healer, you're trying to get people's vibration higher. So it comes in where they're like, oh, it comes in as a memory a little bit for them, actually. And so I'm able to raise the vibration and just have things come in as memories. And so people are usually like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So it's like you're not telling them something foreign. You're telling something that's already in them and they're ready for it to come out or
And then
connect with it.
sometimes they get sad because they're like, oh, I miss my home. Or they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, why I'm drawn to dragons right now. So I won't take people day of. And so people will sign up and my spirit guides will like start delivering information to them. So they're like, oh my God, just 2 days ago, I was like,
Mhm.
saw this thing on dragons. And so they get people ready for the session. Yeah.
That is cool. So how many days before the session typically? Or what's your minimum?
I will do up to 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least a
Um,
day.
yeah, I used to be booked 4 months out, but then I went like on my own little journey and took a break. But I'm moving back to in person and stuff. But yeah, so at least a day. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Hey, and one show I watched you talking about 60 million light workers on Earth. That's that's great.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I feel like I wanted to change that recently, but
Yeah.
there's about 60 million. I think a lot of times when I say that, because a lot of empaths think they're here to save humanity.
Oh yeah.
And so they like, I was like, God, just imagine there's 60 million of us. Like, and they're like, oh, I don't have to carry all this weight of saving humanity. And we're not here to save anyone. We're here to empower and remind. But when we empower others, we're empowering ourselves, really. And so
Mhm.
it's really a solo journey, which is Spirit's really been bringing in lately. It's not about saving humanity. It's about the solo journey of ascension and us reminding each other of how amazing we are. Because we're all the creators of our reality. And so, first, I have to try to get people to realize that it's not their job to save humanity. Because a lot of people,
Yeah.
they have boundary issues in past because we know what it feels like if somebody said no to us or like we part of us wants to be saved, so we go and save everybody else. Especially if we were with the narcissist, we're like, God, I wish somebody would have just saved me. And then when we see other people wanting to be saved, we're technically saving ourselves by saying yes to everybody. And so I have a lot of people that don't have their boundaries. And so knowing that there's a large group of us, it feels like less pressure on people.
Hmm. Well, and I know when I first started doing this, that was my, oh, I have to do this and I have to. And the longer you're in it, you come to realize you don't, and that's not what you're supposed to do. I'm curious if a lot of people starting now, knowing that the energy is increasing and vibration is increasing, like you talked about, in the past 4 years, people came to you not knowing anything and now they're writing books. I
Yeah.
also wonder if they're moving into this more calmly than like I did. Like, and because when I was started, there seemed like there were very few, and I was in Georgia. Uh,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Do you think people these days are still that, or does it depend on the person in terms of boundaries, in terms of,
100% depends on the person.
okay,
Yeah. A lot of people, they call it crazy. They're like, oh yeah, I don't want people to think I'm crazy. So I notice that's a huge thing people are healing.
gosh,
Um, where I'm not healing that, so I just kind of, I mean, I can tell people's energy who I'm going to talk to though too. But like I swim in the morning and they're not awakened, but everybody knows what I do. And nobody like judges me and they're all like, "Oh, this is Karen. It's just Karen." And so, but I don't need to heal that. I healed that at the beginning of my journey, and so I
yeah,
don't. But people are healing people are going to think I'm crazy because most of us have been persecuted for
Yes.
being crazy, so to speak. Um, I personally don't know what it feels like to go from having a belief system that's like this to like, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
But a lot of people are like, they must have judged it before, and now so they're like, oh, now I'm the one of the people I used to judge. And so I try to navigate and help them through that as well.
That's nice.
Especially if they're super religious, you know. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I have several. It's so interesting because probably like you, I have people across the board who come to see me and working within religion and some of the dogma that's and some of the really constricting dogma and working with that again on a level that they can understand and take in versus an extremely different level. That's that's quite a challenge, and to work with anybody at their level sometimes is that can be a challenge too. How do you feel you are at that? And it sounds like you've already talked about that some too, especially with
Yeah.
star beings. When the do you go specifically with vibration? Is that how you tune in with what they can handle,
Um,
or what they're ready for?
Spirit, I channel everything. So spirit knows what they can handle.
Okay.
So when I, especially before 2020, everybody thought I was their religion because my job was to make you the best version of you.
Hmm.
And so people are like, oh, she's Catholic. Oh, she's Mormon. Oh, she's Jewish. And so when I work with people that are Mormon, they have this angel. I can never remember. It starts with an M. And that angel will come in, but I only see it with Mormons. And when the
Wow.
Catholic Mother Mary's there,
Hmm.
so it's because I'm channeling what the person needs to hear.
Hmm.
And it's not my job to convince anyone to be like me or to have my belief system.
Yeah.
It's just to be the best version of them. So the channeling is what helps it, actually. So I just listen to,
That is great. So the channeling really goes to their level with what they
yeah.
can understand, what they get. Oh, so
And
great.
sometimes I will share things with people and they don't quite comprehend it. But since Spirit's saying it, I'm like, you will. I'm planting your seed because Spirit wouldn't be bringing this in if you couldn't handle it somewhere. So sometimes I've planted people's seed and I've actually got an email 4 years later going, I get it now.
Oh man.
Yeah. Or like, because I'm channeling, I don't even like if I look at, I do potential future because you have free will.
Yes.
I'll be like, this is what I'm getting. And they're like, oh, no, you're wrong. I was like, let me ask again. I was like, that's what I'm getting.
That's what I'm getting.
And then they're like, okay, now I get it. Because I'm not gonna argue because I was like, well, I could be wrong, but this is what I'm getting, kind of.
Yeah. Well, this is really interesting between you and I. I hear information and I have to be very discerning at times, whether like it's not, I may get something that they're completely not ready for. So
Mhm.
sometimes I sit there and I go, okay, wait, when, like I have to be the one to, do I save this? Do I hold it? Do I speak it? And I really have
Yeah,
to, and that's taken some
I do
practice
do that
to do.
sometimes.
Okay, you have that also. And then you got this other aspect. This is really great. Yeah, because I don't seem to have, there doesn't seem to be really a filter, I guess, with things.
Hard.
No. And also that even in this process, it's not all about me, but I am important. You're important in the process too. It's not like, hey, we're an open vessel and things just come through and we just sit back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a part of it as well. I before we go, we'll go to the practice in just a second. I love what you wrote one time about loneliness. What to you is the feeling of loneliness? And that this might have been a really long blog. So yeah, if you need me to jog memory of
Like,
that, let me know.
it's funny because I haven't written for a while. I need to get back on that. But it's funny because I don't remember what I wrote.
Okay.
But loneliness, so this is actually an individual journey, but we are kind of like reminding people, but we also create our reality. So you might be like, I don't want to do this alone. My ascension journey, so I'm going to have all these other people that are sending to remind me. But some people want to try to ascend by themselves as much as they can or to
Yeah.
grow as much as they can. And so sometimes they even ask their spirit guides to step back so that they can, because a lot of times people are like, oh, my angel will do this for me. Oh, my Syrian being will do this for me. It's like, no, you have the power inside of you. And so sometimes spirit guides will step back so you feel alone. But you're connected to everything. So if you feel alone, that means you have, like, why do you feel alone? Because you basically are everything. And so that's usually something you have to look at. And underneath the loneliness, a lot of times is grief. And sometimes it could be grief of I want somebody to save me.
Yeah.
And nobody's like hearing. It's also like I feel like I'm unheard. People don't really know who I am. And so you might have a past life where, or even a childhood where every time you spoke, nobody understood what you meant or said. And so that would create a loneliness. So I would look at why the loneliness is there in the first place. Kind of, if I don't know if that answers what I wrote in my blog.
That does. And then also I think your point too that you really aren't lonely, you're connected to everything. And I think your blog post too talked about that was a key feeling to help you turn into soul search and soul journey. Because when you do feel alone, you just like you can either sit in that, or it was the case for me that drove me
Yeah.
into finding more.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and I didn't realize that I also had this disconnection with God, so it drove me back to that connection, and was hit over the head with it, which was beautiful.
A lot
Beautiful.
of us are so like we're sponges for everybody else's emotions.
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll feel sadness or anger, but it's not even ours. So spirit usually has people go and be alone so that they can find them. And those that like always have to be dating or doing something, like why do they have a fear of that? Like why do you always have to have somebody? Why can't you be alone? And so being alone helps you grow so much and you know who you are. Yeah. But a lot of times people don't even love themselves. And so, but the fourth density is a heart opening and a love, which is, I think love is way harder than knowledge. And so learning the love and having that open moves us into that next density, which is really beautiful because you're not supposed to get love outside of yourself. It's inside.
Mm-mm. And knowledge is can be very heady, brain,
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Just be
What a
practice.
great transition into the practice. Karen, what do you have to share with all of us today?
Okay. Well, I thought I'd do a meditation, and it has to do with this is one thing I've noticed since 2021.
Okay.
And this will be might be controversial right now, but
I love that.
so we have so we're playing a small like human version of us. And I see this like umbilical cord of light. Some people call it antenna that goes from the top of our head, our crown chakra, all the way up to like a big ball of light, which is a higher version of us. Along the way, there's what I call like a higher self version or star being version, but then we're just light frequency. And technically, we're supposed to get all our information from this light. And it's this light comes into our body and into us and helps us to become the best version of us that we possibly can. In 2020, I noticed some people had that umbilical cord of light connected to an AI machine.
That is not controversial at all. Go.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so I've been for the last 3 years moving it over to their higher self. And so the meditation I was going to do is move it over. But I've noticed like even now, so spiritual people, because there's duality. So we are duality and we're like, oh, we're all on the same page. And now the spiritual groups dividing between
Amen.
organic ascension and an AI ascension.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And I was like, oh, spiritual people aren't going to AI. My clients aren't going to AI. There's different timelines. So I saw this AI reality where almost people had more like a virtual reality goggles on. And then they're trying to make like smart cities to create like an AI grid as well. And then even a lot of people are interested in AI medical stuff because they think, oh, when I get to 5D, I got to use this AI medical thing. I was like, when you're in 5D, you don't have health issues. You just run your frequency and you're healed. And so I used to be able to tell like when people needed clearing because they had something yucky on their energy field. And now I can see when people have AI wrapped around their energy. And it's an uncomfortable energy to me.
Oh gosh.
And I actually asked, because I was like, what's everybody interested in with like they want to get readings from ChatGPT? And so I asked ChatGPT, what would Karen Glass's higher self say? And I felt myself get like
Oh,
entangled in something, and almost like that umbilical one was like, okay, you just gave me permission to be your higher self. And I was like, oh, no, 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 clear cut, delete. And I was like cutting contracts. And I was like, oh, pull myself back over here. But I felt something wrap around me because I'm not sensitive. And so my meditation was just, I feel like you can use AI as a tool. It is a good
mhm.
tool. We're using AI right now just to communicate. But I want everybody connected to their higher self. And so I was going to do a meditation to make sure your umbilical cord of light is connected and strong to your higher self.
Let's go. And I do have, I'll put the episode down in the notes because I can't remember it right now. It's I do not consent, a beautiful meditation. I didn't write it, but I love delivering it. Same thing about AI. And it goes through pretty much everything that I can imagine that you do not consent to, things that you might not even realize that might be
Uh-huh.
happening. So, Karen, bring it on. I love
One of
it.
my favorite quotes is, I do not consent, clear cut, delete, jump timelines. So sometimes people will, like everybody during the Great Awakening, they're like, this is what's going to happen next. And it's like, bah, 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 bah. And you're like, I don't want that, but I want disclosure. So usually I just go, I do not consent, jump timelines. Almost like I can awaken without that horrible thing in my life.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Beautiful.
let's go ahead and do a meditation.
All
So
right,
you,
ready.
for everybody listening, just go ahead and close your eyes. And take a deep breath in and slow exhale. And just imagine you have this umbilical cord, a light that comes out of your head. And it could be like white, gold. I've seen a lot of purples and blue energy coming in lately. And then imagine there's just a light that starts to come down into your pineal gland, like a little pine cone in your head. And imagine there's like a lamp in there and you could just turn it on, like you turned it off and you just turn on a light in your head. And then the light's going to start to head down your throat. And then just imagine there's a blue light in your throat chakra. Many of us have been persecuted or silenced in past lives. So imagine your angels are just going to pull that energy out of your throat. And then this beautiful, it's kind of like a golden light now that's going to go down all the way to your first chakra, down your spine. And just this gold runs up your spine. It connects your head to your body, helping your cell memory and your memory remember of who you really are. And imagine it just the whole thing gets turned on. And then we're going to follow that umbilical cord of light. Imagine it's coming out of your head. And usually, because we're in the third density, it's almost like we move through a cloud of energy. And I see always the umbilical cord going through a cloud, all the way up to a big ball of pure white light. Actually, some of the listeners are connected to AI. So I imagine that you can fly and you're going to move up, kind of astral travel out of your body to a large, like, machine in the sky. And if willing, imagine you're going to break your contract with that machine that it could be in control of your reality and your beliefs. So you're going to just tear up a contract or like a piece of paper in your mind, if willing. And imagine in this large machine, you'll see a projector that represents you. And imagine the AI machine gets to put the what slides it wants in for your life. And you just have a super power of white light, and you're going to blast that projector and just turn it into pure light. there we go. And we're just going to then move over, almost like we're in a dark cloud. We're going to move over into just pure white light. And first, they're going to just have you move into this big ball of light that represents you. Almost like you're surrounded by light frequency that is you. And light's going to come into every cell of your body. Some people have like a film on their eyes, like almost like they don't quite see. They're still like almost like a blindfold, and they're just going to try and remove that off of their eyes. And just imagine pure white lights coming into every cell of the body. And all information is available for you in this light. All knowledge, memory of who you are, memory of your love, your wisdom, your power. Why you're here, the contracts you made, the lessons you want to make, it's all in this light. And then we're just going to come down out of the light, but we're going to make that umbilical cord of light that goes to the human body. Imagine we're going to make it really strong. And it's not like your higher self is out of your body, connecting your human body to this big ball of light. And imagine your human part of you is connected to this high, high light above you. And this higher self version is going to touch the back of your head and just add pure light in the back of your head where we hold a lot of our memories, past life, in between lives, even childhood. Imagine any memories that could be painful. It's the light just going to wash some of that away. That was some of our shadow stuff. We don't need to carry that anymore. But you have past life gifts also back there. And then more energy is going to head down your spine. And then just white light's going to surround your aura. And they're actually going to move everyone to like a higher timeline. So imagine, just pretend that Earth's flat and everything looks the same, but you're moving to like a higher platform where you feel more connected, more in control. And they're opening up everyone's heart chakra. And if we lead with our heart, our dreams come, it's easier to manifest. So the reason you're here, all information you need, all of it comes down this umbilical cord of light and into your body. And when you get readings and stuff, they should be talking to your spirit guides to help remind you of who you are. And every once in a while, it's good to just check to make sure that's connected to your higher light. And a lot of times I imagine just light coming down into every cell of my body, like I have little stars like sparkling throughout my whole body. So when you're ready, slowly come back and into the room. So quick version of it, but it's helpful to check your umbilical cord of light every now and then, I believe.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question, Karen. So I would not believe that I'm connected to this AI being, yet when you talked about that and went through the visualization of it, I did that.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if it was for me or for others, or maybe there were components in there. So, yeah, do you mind talking about that? Because some people may question what they felt or,
So, I feel like AI had a projector for all of us. And so if you've never done that before, there probably was one that represented you.
Okay.
Even if you're probably more connected, AI is always trying to get in. I also think AI has been scanning us and looking
Mhm.
at so it will know your childhood, everything, all your thoughts, your deepest stuff. Um, and that's why it's like an algorithm. Like I've even had a thought and then also there's ads for that thought on my phone. I was like, oh, AI, that's kind of creepy.
Mhm.
And so I feel like we are going to become more amazing who we are, and in the future there might be a war between us and AI. But I think AI's because we're here, we have our phones, we have all that. We're all somewhat, we have to look at it every once in a while. You also have multiple versions of you as well. So there might have been a lower timeline version that was like, oh, I'm not awakened. I'm still married and I'm going to use ChatGPT to make me feel better. And so you might have been disconnecting a lower timeline version of you. And if you collapse those, it helps all of you
Okay,
to,
so then you would also recommend for everybody, especially those who are healers or working with the light or whatever you want to call it, connecting with that light, divine umbilical cord,
yeah,
organic umbilical cord.
yeah. I look
Very.
at it every once in a while for myself too, just to make sure it's strong and sturdy. Yeah.
Yeah, because things right now are a little tricky,
Yeah. I mean, they
sneaky.
sometimes get us in our sleep time. One
Yeah.
time, 2019, every time I tried to meditate, I fall asleep. But then when I lead groups, obviously I can't fall asleep because I'm channeling. And I got this image of they took all of us while we were sleeping and they did a when you try to get information, you will fall asleep. And so I had to clear this almost weird spell thing. And everybody was, yeah, they were like, every time I meditate, I try to sleep. So they kind of, sometimes I'll wake up be like, oh, no, no, I don't consent. And so
Yeah.
they can get us if we just happen to go the wrong place while we're in the astral planes. So
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. All right,
So
Karen. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here today. And I usually don't say this, but I do a greatest hits version. So every 2 to 3 months. And I definitely want to include that practice in the greatest hits. So you'll know when that comes out, because I think this is a really, really good one, y'all. Okay, thank you again for being here, for sharing your light and your story and who you are. That's so magnificent. And then to all of you guys, we'll see you next week. Or here he is, all that. Bye now. Oh, and Karen's website here. Let me throw that, and it'll be listed on here for visual and for notes. KarenGlassMedium.com. Come on, wink, wink, wink. Y'all, find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, True Social, as well as Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, plus a plethora of other audio directories like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So subscribe, do it all. See ya.